And we're back for another podcast episode. Why does it seem like it always is weird for me to do this every week? I need to get better at this. But we're back for another episode of the podcast. I'm here with Spear and Alternate Visuals, and we're here to review episode 4 of season 2 of Rurouni Kenshin. Say hi, everybody. Hello.
You want me to say hi to everybody?
This is. I mean, yes, that would be nice for
Do I have to
people in the.
say hi to everybody?
I mean, you can choose who to say hi to. I mean, I mean, this is going to go into the void on the internet. So, I mean, whoever you say hi to in the future, I don't know.
I want to say hi specifically to our British, I'm sorry, not our British, our Brazilian listener.
You're really hooked on this Brazilian person who don't know the
I
name
am.
of.
I think it's awesome. I'm saying hi specifically to him or her.
But it's don't assume gender.
Yeah, I can't assume gender. Do I have to say hi to anybody else or is that enough?
Up to you. If you want to keep the bit going, you're good.
Oh, that's okay. I'll say hi to, what is that guy, Red something?
I mean, the
The Red
Nature
Avenger?
Avenger. Nature is Nature
Nature
Avenger
Avenger?
now.
I'll say hi to Nature Avenger as well. They seem pretty cool.
Oh yeah, they are. But they actually in
Oh,
bed
the
right
Nature
now.
Avengers actually stopped by and said hello at one point.
Yeah, that was earlier. They usually like to do that when the stream starts. I think they're actually in bed now. I know that they got work at some point, so they actually be working tomorrow. I have no idea. I'll find out when I wake up tomorrow. Because I'll have to go to work. Oh well. That's the world we're living in. Uh actually I
Don't
wanted
complain. Going to work is better than not having a job.
I'm sorry. Um crap. Because of the way the way I release these podcasts, which there's no other way around it. Well, I guess I could find another way around it, but because of the way I release these podcasts, this is coming out actually the day before election day. For the people out there who haven't voted, please vote. Um, Remember to be civil out there. I've already done mine. I don't trust walking out there in today's society with a registration packet. So I just mail mine in. So anybody who hasn't voted, please take the time to fill out the fill out your absentee ballot or go out to your closest polling place with your family and vote for who they should be in next president. I just want to say that right now because this is gonna come out the day before, even though this is happening the week prior. I know I'm doing time gymnastics right now, but just gonna point that out there.
Can I hear your time gymnastics sounds?
Swing.
Did you say tweet?
No, I said swing. Actually, speaking of sound effects, I wonder if this can actually play. Um, I'm gonna need you to do something for me really quick. I want this to um tell the listening audience in the future. I guess the most like heartrending tale you can tell us.
Tell you the most heartrending tale?
I mean, anybody in the audience in the future, just tell us, just into the mic, just tell us your most heartrending tale. You can tell us.
So not me, but the audience.
No, you tell them to the audience.
But it really will be a sad story.
I'm asking for you to do that.
Okay. Um, when I was 5 years old, I had a cat that would follow me everywhere. The cat's name was Liberty. And everywhere I went, indoors, outdoors, the cat would follow me and be near me. And it adopted me and treated me like one of its kittens. Like it would just watch over me and like be around me no matter what I did. And one day, and I love the cat too. Like I hung out with the cat and he was my dude. And the cat put up with a lot of crap because I mean, think about a 5-year-old and what it would do to a cat. And back then, I was allowed to be pretty much anywhere in the neighborhood, like in the immediate neighborhood, which you'd never do today.
I
But
probably couldn't hear that. Dang
what?
it. I had my heart will go on as you were telling that.
Oh,
I
um,
probably couldn't hear it. I need to fix that. You keep
no, I
telling the
couldn't hear
story,
it at
I'll
all.
fix it.
So I was in the neighbor's yard playing in their driveway,
hmm
and I was like looking at ants and stuff like that, and I was on my hands and knees in the driveway, and the neighbors came, and the cat was with me, hanging out with me, and the neighbors got in their car and backed up, and they started heading towards me with their car, like going backing down the driveway,
hmm
and the car definitely would have hit me because I was too. Oh, it didn't occur to me that this car might hit me. It didn't even occur to me later. It had like it took me like a couple of years to look back and go, man, that car was going to hit me. But the cat that always watched over me walked and put itself in between me and the car and stood its ground until the car ran over it. And then the neighbors felt the bump in the car and they got out to see what was going on and they saw that they'd almost hit me. And they said, we're sorry, we're sorry. And I said, it's okay. And I picked up the cat that was going to die that night, but I didn't know at the time. As far as I could tell, the cat was still moving and stuff like that. So I'm like, it's still moving. He's okay. And I brought the cat home to my grandparents. And then all I remember after that, because I was pretty young, but all I remember after that is opening the door one day, that night, and seeing the cat like on a white sheet, just pissing and like miserable. And then it passed away that night. So the cat saved my life, but it died.
Was the cat hissing at you?
No, the cat was hissing because it was in pain and just didn't want anyone to come near it.
There's a sad story.
The cat was internally bleeding to death.
Oh. Wait, so you couldn't have taken it to the vet? Or,
I was 5. I don't know what my grandparents.
oh.
Well, I was at my grandparents' house. I don't know what they decided about it, but I was 5 years old, so I couldn't have taken it anywhere.
I mean, I was saying, like, why couldn't your, okay.
But that's one of the reasons, not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons that I make it such a point to have so many cats and to take care of them and love them. Because I owe my life to one of them.
That is a sad story. I wish I could
Yeah,
have had my heart will go on really playing there, but you couldn't hear it, so I was trying to fix it as you were telling the story, but I hope it was heard on the stream. If it was only really sad. I literally put that on my Steam Deck yesterday because I was planning to play it over as a comedic thing, and then you tell a sad story that I couldn't make comedic, which maybe for the best if I wasn't able to make that comedic. That was actually really sad.
yeah. Well, you told me not to tell a sad story, so
You have to go so sad that you're bringing down the mood. No, just kidding. Jeez, jeez. I may be making fun of it, but honestly, that's how I'm dealing with grief right now. Good lord, that okay. Hmm. Did you name that cat? Did that cat have a
I
name for you?
I named the cat Liberty
Oh,
because
that's right. You said Liberty. Dang it! I literally heard you say that, and I completely forgot immediately.
I named all the cats that my grandparents had, and at one point they had 25.
Jeez.
And because like 3 of their cats had babies at the same time, so there was like all these kittens. Um, I named the cat Liberty based on when they asked me what I should name the cat. It was on Liberty was on a mailbox that we drove by in the car. I looked over at the mailbox and it said Liberty, and they said, "What do you want to name the cat?" And I said, "Liberty."
Mm.
I don't know why I remember that. I remember like 10 things from when I was 5, but that was one of them. That was a good cat, though. That cat knew what was going to happen.
I know that was supposed to be profound, but just the way you said that, it's like, yep, that cat knew what was gonna happen. I was like, jeez.
I mean, think about it. Like you're a little like 9-pound cat, and a whole car is like coming at you like at a pretty good clip. You know what I mean? The cat didn't run out of the way or anything because the cat knew if it ran out of the way, the car would hit me. So the cat knew what it was doing. The cat knew that it was gonna get hit in the hopes that that meant that it wouldn't hit me.
Jeez. But that's it. I guess that's like, I always did wonder like why you have so many cats, but I guess that okay. I mean, it's not the only reason, but as you said before, like, but it's a reason. Like, good,
I mean, I like cats a lot too, but that's one of the big reasons it's that they're especially big deal to me.
meanwhile, Ollie gives you grief. I think it's
Yes, but also Ollie also follows me all over the house and stuff like that. Like he follows me everywhere, so I can't really hold it against him.
I mean, you could, but you just don't want to.
Well, he's allowed to have a personality of his own. You know what I mean? Like he's allowed to have pros and cons to himself. So I can't expect him to be a perfect cat. You know what I mean? But he's pretty good for me.
I'm sorry, I listened to all that, and I'm just like, yeah, I get all that. I mean, cats have personalities, but then he's allowed to have pros and cons. So like, what's this cat trying to do? Sell you on life insurance or something? Just like you're in your bedroom, and just so I go to sleep. And he's like, hey, I got something to tell you. Life insurance. Just like
Well, it's just like
you just get up like what?
it's like Grayson's not perfect either. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
like I love him anyway because and there's a lot of good things about him, and that's what you focus on. So having a cat is like sort of like having a child. You know, you got to love them for the positive stuff and tolerate as much as you can of the negative.
Okay, wasn't expecting that bit. No, I understand it. As much as I'm trying to make fun of, no, I understand it. Like I
Yeah.
didn't like that's one thing I did not know. Jeez. Okay. Well, I mean, I hope you have cats to you take your last breath, I guess.
I, prob- I think I probably will. The only thing that would stop me is if I was old and I thought I'd adopt a cat and then I wouldn't have anywhere to go when I died. Do you know what I mean? If I thought I couldn't see a cat through its lifetime, I might not get a cat just because I don't know who's going to take it after I die. I would hate for it to go like to a pound or something like that after bonding with it.
I mean, cats will just eat you though.
I've heard those rumors that that's what they do.
I've heard dogs do the same thing. Apparently, I think a cat would eat you immediately, but I think a dog would actually wait. I think that's what I heard.
I
I
mean,
could imagine.
I'm not doing anything with my body at that point anyway. If a cat needs it to survive, then go for it.
I mean, that's like what it is, but a survival tactic. So I just imagining Rayla just like as you're passing.
Rayla?
Yeah, Rayla just like I just imagine Rayla as you're passing. It's like you can hit me. You're like cat around, but it's like I should be able to help you survive another like month or two. It's just Rayla's just looking at you. It's like you're probably not understanding a word I'm saying, and then you pass whatever like a day or two, and really just walking around the house after eating the last kibble or whatever is and like available to her because maybe Jess isn't around or some reason, but walks over to you because for some reason your dead body is still laying on the couch or wherever you're laying when you passed, and she just looks at you, stares for a few minutes, jumps up on there, and then starts just nibbling on you.
I could see it, especially with Rayla.
Why Rayla specifically before you actually move on to the topic?
Why Rayla specifically?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about her personality that she just deals with hardship in a different way. Like if there's she's got a really good way of dealing with disappointment and like moving on with her life. So, like if she's trying to cuddle with you and you just put her down, like she'll just walk away. Even though she was like purring like crazy, like to the point where she almost couldn't breathe while you were petting her. Maybe you put her down, she just accepts it and goes on with her life. Stuff like that.
So a cat that just takes no for an answer. Okay, that's interesting. Sometimes you never hear that about that.
Yeah, she rolls with disappointment. So.
Okay then. Heck was that? Okay, I'm not even gonna acknowledge that. Don't worry about it. This is this thing serious. Just in the Discord, I'm not gonna acknowledge. But I already spent just acknowledging it. Whatever. Uh, with that in mind, we can start the review of the episode that released last week for Rurouni Kenshin season 2.
Before you do, I've got to ask, why did you have me tell a sad story of all things?
That I was trying to get that. I had my heart logo on a bad recorder rendition of it on the Steam Deck, and I was trying to play it for you as you were doing it. But apparently, when I started playing it, you couldn't hear it. So you know, my entire plan just kind of like fell through real quickly as it started. I'll get some use out of that eventually. That was the whole idea. I was hoping it wasn't going to be too serious. It was going to be something funny. You just came up with it off the cuff, was what I was expecting, but not an actual story from your actual life.
Oh.
So I got
Right.
2 for the price of 1. Apparently, in that case, I
I
failed.
warned you. I said it's going to be a really sad story. A real
Yeah, but I
sad
thought you
story.
were like, if like that because it was you were going to make something make something up that was really sad versus something being real, and I was going to be able to break the tension with that clip.
Oh, sorry.
But I'm the a-hole in this case. Did you bring up a dead cat story? I'm glad you got a chance to live with that cat, and then it actually no, I was almost survived. It didn't survive. It protected you. It probably couldn't because it was a really small animal, but
Yeah.
any well,
It was a,
the hmm?
it was a girl. She was a good girl. Liberty.
Wait a minute, that's not what I wanted. Honestly, Liberty was a good name. Freedom.
Yeah, it turned out to be a pretty good name. I just randomly picked it off a mailbox, but it was a pretty good name. I like Higgins, one of my current cats. Higgins is a good name for a cat.
Yeah, cat's name is Higgins.
Yeah, one of my ones from Australia. It's dignified yet silly.
It also sounds English.
Yeah, it's actually named after Missy Higgins, an Australian pop singer.
Now it sounds more Australian. Which I mean, I would hope, I guess, based on the fact that it was based on somebody from Australia. Huh. Continuing on with that theme of disappointment. No, just I guess. Well, I guess this episode was disappointing. It's like it was really good. I was kind of shocked that like basically at the end of the episode, Kenshin decides to challenge Shishio. I'm half expecting Shishio to like wail on him, but maybe not. Considering that Shishio, I actually rewatched that the second time just to get my bearings on it. He makes mention that he would rather fight Kenshin and Kyoto, so I'm guessing something's gonna happen where they're not gonna fight each other. But it was interesting nonetheless that like this episode pretty much is the Kenshin meets Shisho for the very first time, but before all that, the episode continues off after we find that last episode that this village has been apparently wiped off the map. In a geopolitical sense, apparently the police have been just not doing a good job, and then uh, Kenshin enters the village to help out a kid whose brother was killed by one of Shishio's men. And at the end of the episode, we find out that Saito apparently had been following him. Well, he's not following them. Yeah, I guess he had been planning to come to this village at some point, and he just happens to be here at the same time Kenshin is. I had the thought process that maybe Kenshin knew that Saito was following him, and he decided to bring him to the village. But based on the way they were talking, communicating, I don't think Saito even knew Kenshin was going to be here, and then two, Kenshin didn't know that Saito was following him. Well, not following him, but was going to be here. So both paths just happened to collide at this one point.
Do you think Saito and Kenshin are going to become like a team like Goku and Vegeta? Like rivals that like are stronger because of their rivalry.
Not Saito. I think Ayoshi. I think Ayoshi has just got that mentality. Want to get stronger. I don't think Saito. I don't think Saito really cares about that much. Could he? Maybe. I don't know. I know Kenshin doesn't want to fight him. I think there's various instances where he does not want to fight that guy. He just got forced into a stalemate with the guy last season because Saito wouldn't take no for an answer. But it's possible. It all really depends on how Saito approaches this entire thing. Saito looked like in this entire episode, he had just been trying to gauge who Shishio is and possibly get Kenshin in there to fight him.
In the opening credits, they show Kenshin walking with all his friends and allies, and Saito is in the group.
Yeah, I mean Sanosuke isn't in there in the very beginning. He's in there at the end of it. I mean, I know Saito's gonna be here for the long haul, that's for sure. I don't know, like, if their relationship could be rivalry friendly. Because at least with Vegeta and Goku, they were just trying to, push each other to fight their other fullest. I don't think that's what Saito's goal here is with Kenshin. Especially since, like, when they first fought, it was a long time ago, back when Kenshin was the man killer, the manslayer, and he was part of the Shinsengumi. I think back then he was trying to kill him, and I feel like he was still trying to kill him in present day. I don't know if that's conducive to a friendly rivalry between two swords.
Well, Vegeta's rivalry with Goku wasn't friendly at first, and then it got increasingly
Well,
friendly
that
as
wasn't really
time
a
went on.
rivalry when they first met. That was just him coming down to kill a Saiyan because he was getting in the way. That wasn't really a rivalry. It became one later, but like, I guess that point, I don't know. I think preferably I would rather Ayoshi because at least he's friendlier. I mean, he's not that much friendlier with Kenshin, but it seems like he's more willing to go sword on sword with him versus Saito. I think who wants to straight up stab him in the heart. But at least Ayoshi wants to fight the Batosai on even ground and beat him. I think Saito just wants to straight up kill him, and I don't think that's changed. And also him being a police officer, I don't really trust that either. Saito, I mean, being a police officer, I don't really trust him all that much.
Yeah. Is that a commentary about the police?
It could be a commentary on anything you wanted to be. It wasn't
I is
intentionally meant to be a commentary on the
it
police.
like hashtag defund the police? Is that what we're talking about
No,
right
I
now?
am not. No, I've come to my senses on that, and I as much as I don't trust them, no, don't defund them. I'd be in worse shape.
Wow, you want to defund the police?
No, no, I do not. Don't spread that lie. I mean, could Saito bring? It really depends if they need to change Saito's like disposition towards Kenshin here. Like every time he's near Kenshin, I'm expecting a fight to break out. And by fight, I mean Saito trying to stab him to the back. So far, he hasn't done so yet, which is kind of shocking considering who he is. But I'm still expecting it. Like his Saito's like up to this point, I'm like, what is he doing? Like I guess like now it's based on the fact that he was a police officer in charge of this area, and he sent out he sent out an officer who happened to be the kid's brother who died earlier. Like, okay, he seems to be trying to do the right thing, but I'm not sure how much that extends towards Kenshin's well-being. Because Kenshin isn't the manslayer anymore, but it seems like that doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah,
I mean, do you think that Saito would be that rival Kenshin needs? I don't know.
I think Saito believes he's the only one that can kill Kenshin, right? Why the long silence?
No, I'm thinking. I'm trying to think. Has he said that? It's like,
Yeah, I believe he said that he's the only one that can kill Kenshin.
I mean, even with meeting Ayoshi Shinomori from earlier, because he met him.
Yeah,
Well, okay. Here's the thing that Saito's got going for him that I'm gonna have to admit here. Well, not going to have to. I'm gonna admit it regardless. But Kenshin and I mean, they say this episode. They said in flat terms that Kenshin, Saito, and Shishio, the villain of this main story arc, all come from the same era, back when the swords were abolished. So I guess if anybody would be able to get the upper hand on Kenshin, also Kenshin has mentioned he does not like fighting him. So there's got to be something to that. Like the Kenshin is wary of him as it is. I know Kenshin doesn't like being near him either. I mean, literally when went back earlier when Saito mentioned taking a boat with him on the to get to get to Kyoto faster, Kenshin literally said, "I'm not going on a boat with you." So Kenshin has some apprehension of being near him. I guess maybe he could kill him. I guess I would
well,
say yes. What?
he at least good enough that he could think that he could kill him.
I mean, it's enough to make Kenshin wary of him anyway. I'll say that much.
Yeah, we've seen some fighters that like can hold a candle to Kenshin a little bit. You know what I mean? Like Kenshin's not invincible.
I'm not saying that. I'm just it's one of those. Like I'm not like my pausing isn't because I think Kenshin's invincible. That's not the case. It's just one of those things. I don't know. We don't know fully what Kenshin's capable of because we got a little more piece of that this episode with like what they call divine speed. Um, I think earlier they called that a human speed, so I think they're changing the wording here now. So it's divine speed. But I guess like Kenshin's moving at a speed that people would consider to be like on level of a god. Um, I guess it depends. I mean, I mean, it's not like Shishu. I'm not saying Shishu's a slouch. It's just I don't know. Those two, like when Shishu first fought him earlier, when we first saw that fight in the anime, he was just trying to gauge. like how much pressure would he need to push on Kenshin for him to revert back to his old ways? And he managed to get there, and it took Kaoru to snap him out of it. But no, he switched back to Battlestar earlier than that. Actually, he switched back to it during. It was that guy that kidnapped her. I forgot his name. Was he in bandages too? Probably not even what we're talking about. Like there was just a point where they were like Kenshin and Cairo were like talking with each other like underneath a bridge or something like that, and then all of a sudden some guy came and snatched her. It was the first guy that Kenshin had to fight seriously. Still not helping, I know, but I'm trying to think of his name. I can't believe I forgot his name. He was the guy who was warning Kenshin. At the end when he defeated him, he warned Kenshin about like other people that are going to come out after him.
I can't remember.
He had a move that he used on Cairo, and Cairo managed to shake it off. I see him in my mind. I can't think of his name though. Yeah, that was the first person to get him to switch over to manslayer mode. So yes, I mean yes, Saito. Like probably. I mean, it really depends. Like what Saito isn't. I mean, like Kenshin and him fought before, so he knows Kenshin's moveset. Now, if that's changed any of all, maybe there's also that as well. Yeah, we learn really early on about like Saito's involvement in this at least in this particular town. Is it Saito that tells him that 10 other villages are under the same situation? Where Shishio's taken over, used taking over their towns as like a home base.
What?
I know somebody tells Kenshin and anybody Misao that apparently Shishio has taken over like 10 places at this point, and he's using him as like
Yeah.
a home base. Is that him that tells him that, or
Yes.
I guess speaking of like really quick of character interactions, I like how you find that Saicho remembers people by comparing them to animals, and he chooses this time to go and insult Misao by comparing her to a weasel. And it's like he's all, well, who's this girl? Weasel girl. I'm like,
I
jeez.
just assumed that there was some cultural context to that I'm missing.
I'm pretty sure he is. I'm just my guy would know it. I'm just forgetting it right now, but I know that he's. I think it's just that he has a hard time remembering people he doesn't care about. So he just compares all the women to animals. I'm guessing because Megumi is a fox, and well, I think that's probably the most like nicest thing he could say because I think he calls Cairo a tanuki. He might just look like an animal and we're just not seeing it. It's quite possible.
I wish there was like I wish I'd taken the time to research like those three animals and see if they're paired up in like any like Japanese folklore or something
Well,
like
I mean,
that.
I know. I mean, well, me talk Japanese folklore. I can tell you for sure that at least the Tanuki, I know for sure the Tanuki and the Kitsune, which is what that fox is, typically are, and typically from at least what I can tell, they're both at least the Tanuki and the Kitsune themselves are really they're kind of like rivals. I think not really rivals, but like they're typically seen together sometimes because they both have the ability to cause mischief. Like, I think the Kitsune can straight up kill you with what they're capable of, like taking your soul and whatnot. At least from the very little I remember about them. And the Tanuki just straight up like, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff about Tanukis out there about like how they're tricksters and whatnot. And how you don't want to mess with one. I don't think it has anything to do with those two. I mean, I could look up really quick to see what's going on with Saicho's memory. That'd be interesting to look into.
Are you looking into it?
I mean, like right now, I'm just trying to. Specifically asks, why does. I don't think there's anything about it. I'm like looking into this, and it doesn't seem there's anything about it. So I just memory just might just be that bad. I'm guessing. But I can definitely look into Tanukis and Kitsune and folklore. And we're gonna throw in the weasel because that's a new one. Oh, Tanuki are real animals. I forgot about that.
A tanuki is a real animal?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I should have known that. I think I looked into it a long time ago. But yeah, they are an actual real animal. They exist only in Japan, I believe. Oh, okay. There's nothing about the weasel, but definitely we look up Tanuki and Kitsune or Fox. Like they're like see here. I think it was a tale, like a folklore tale that involves both of them. I don't know, one thing that the Tanuki and the Kitsune share is they're capable of changing their form. Apparently, they can possess human beings. I didn't realize that. I guess that explains why all the time in anime they do that. It's just a lot. I mean, there's like Tanuki pottery over Japan. Just like geez, they really quick, just like me. Oh, the other Kitsune is based off the Japanese red fox. What the heck?
You're learning so much, I can tell.
Some of the stuff I was like, okay, I didn't realize there was like a real. I mean, I knew the Tanuki thing was real because of looking into that far enough, but okay, let me just look. Let me just read this a little bit of what I'm seeing here from each side. Shape-shifting magical creatures are staple of folklore cultures around the world, and Japan is no different. As the two most iconic and well-known yokai, the Kitsune and the Tanuki hold an important place in Japanese culture. And today we'll be looking in, the Kitsune. From tales of Native America, Western Europe, and all the way to East Asia, foxes have developed a reputation as sly tricksters, as mischievous as they are mysterious. In Japan, it's believed the tail of the Kitsune splits with time, and the number of its tails as indicates its age and wisdom and power. Yeah, I was reading somewhere about that a long time ago. Like they believe that like a fox can just become one. Like they can live for a long time. So like basically their tails is split and they gain otherworldly power from it. So Kitsune can have as many as nine tails, nine-tailed fox, but known as the QB no Kitsune, nine-tailed fox, with a new tail splitting off every 100 years. These, uh, Japanese folklore does not traditionally distinguish between normal and paranormal foxes, as normal foxes are simply young and immature kitsune. Kitsune means fox anyway, which have not yet fully awakened their supernatural abilities. These include possession of humans, creating illusions, and knowledge of many things, breathing spectral fire, and most notable of all, shapeshifting. And I see this is a Japanese red fox. I'm like, maybe I think that must be what that's based on. This makes me wonder, are Japanese red fox rare? Well, this is interesting. Um, the shapes they can take vary, though more often than not, it's disguise of a beautiful young woman. In fact, in many a story, female kitsune marry unwitting human men and become loving wives, devoted mothers, and children born of these pairings are reputed to be powerful divination abilities themselves. So maybe that's the connection that the anime is making between Megumi and a fox.
I assume that his statement is sexist too, because he's calling each woman an animal.
I was trying to not go that way with him because I don't know if he's that way, but for then again, I don't know anything about him.
I think there's all sorts of connotations to that culturally you'd get, but that we wouldn't get like outside of that.
I mean, they said that Kitsune is like really tricky, but I already knew that. I think the Tanuki is supposed to be trickier than them, but I just freaking read that the freaking I didn't even know that Kitsune did that, which married human men and did that. I'm like, oh, I guess that explains why most of the I see this a lot with like creatures like this. They'll usually take on the form of a woman. A woman. So they'll typically do. Hey, they bring mention of anime here. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Beautiful Takane Megumi and Rurouni Kenshin. That's all he's saying. Okay. But I think that may be just because foxes are typically regarded as beautiful beings most of the time. And I'm guessing that's what he's the connection he's making with Megumi. The Tanuki on the other side of the grassy fields, we have the Tanuki. While the word today is most often used to refer to the Japanese raccoon dog based on the usage of the modern Tokyo dialect in different regions. That is an interesting looking Japanese raccoon dog. That thing looks feral. Uh, in different regions of Japan, it has also been used to describe a badger, a civet, or a wild cat in older sources. I don't know what a civet is. Or civet. Civet. I don't know what that is. Either way, it's important to note that the animal known as the tanuki is empathetically not what English speakers would call a raccoon, despite the surface similarities and popular misconceptions. Uh, Tanuki are widely believed to be very playful and jolly, often associated with good luck. They love to party, drink sake, and play tricks with each other as well as unsuspecting humans, all in the name of good fun. The older tales tell of far more wicked Tanuki. Modern commercialization has transformed them to be much cuter and whimsical creatures. These masters of shapeshifting typically use a leaf on their forehead to transform. An imagery you have seen in Japanese art. Speaking of leaves, the Tanuki have a habit of disguising themselves as humans to buy alcohol with money that is, in actuality, a bunch of leaves that they have magically transformed to look like money. I saw that, and some of the animation I've seen is really funny. They give the money to the person, and they speed off, and then it's only a few seconds after the fact because it doesn't stay money for long. It just stays long enough for them to get what they want to get out. Again, you notice that these creatures are typically playful. They're not like they're not evil outright. I didn't know this would. Let's see here. When in natural form, modern portrayals depict the Tanuki as having 8 distinct characteristics called the Tanuki 8 virtues. These are a smiling face, a sake flask, a straw hat to protect them from bad weather or trouble, a notebook of promises representing trustworthiness, big eyes with which they expertly perceive their surroundings, a big tail symbolizing strength and steadiness, a big belly which they are reputed to drum on in the middle of the night, and an oversized scrotum. It typically like to avoid that on them because like I don't want to look at that. And now they're going on the Sugi's balls. I don't want to. Just gonna ignore that. It's a children's song talking about their testicles.
What?
Japan
A children's song talking about their testicles?
talking about the Tanuki's testicles. Yes.
Why?
I don't know. It's Japan.
Why?
It's Japan. I don't know. You're asking the wrong person.
Because Japan?
That's all I can say is Japan. And that's probably an insult because I really like their culture and whatnot, but it's just the things I find out about I can only summarize as is Japan. It's like that. 'Cause I don't know. I don't know why these things are oversized. They keep on bringing that up. They're oversized. I don't need to know this information. Studio Ghibli made a movie called Pom Poko featuring a community of Tanuki? Was this ever released outside of Japan? Don't tell me that it wasn't. Wait, I do remember this movie. I feel like I remember this movie. I don't think this was ever released outside of Japan. Did this ever get a... Did this ever get an outside distribution? This was Ghibli's third film. What the heck? I don't know. This thing has an English dub or even an English sub. What? You ever heard of Palm Poco before? Uh,
Poco, isn't that a Miyazaki movie?
that's like Studio Ghibli. So you have seen this movie. So this was released outside of Japan then. Okay.
I'm trying to refresh my memory. Yes, I've seen the Japanese version. It was in Japanese.
Oh, there was no English sub.
What?
There was no English sub. Like they didn't have like the words down there translated to English.
There were subtitles, yeah.
Okay. So this was released. Okay. Because like I don't remember seeing this film. I never heard of it.
It was kind of a sad film.
Films about Tanuki. I don't have that film. I didn't know it existed. This is news. I did not know. I knew there was probably films I didn't know about from Miyazaki. I just didn't know that one. Okay. I just dropped that. There was a lot going on there. I was actually trying to avoid the Tanuki balls thing because like I was kind of aware of that a long time ago. Uh, but the Tanuki are really tricksters. I remember but yeah, they're right that like in recent times now it's like they're kind of regarded as cute. I think the ball thing's been removed though entirely, as from what I can remember. Though during the time the original Rurouni Kenshin, that wouldn't have been the case.
Right.
Actually, let me just look up weasel in Japan. That just seems like an odd animal to. I know there's got to be like a folklore about weasels. Yep, there are weasel yokai. Kame Kamai Tachi, which just means sickle. That's kind of cool. This isn't cool. Okay, Kamai Tachi is a Japanese yokai from the oral tradition of some place I'm not gonna try to pronounce. It can also refer to strange events that these creatures cause. They appear riding on dust devils and cut people using their sickle-like front claws, delivering sharp, painless wounds. The name combination of words kama, sickle, and itachi, weasel. I'm trying to see if there's any like famous uses of this, but I'm not. There's a lot of talk of like if you get cut by this thing, it doesn't make an actual visible wound. You just bleed on the inside. Oh, never mind. This is apparently there's no bleeding because the blood is being sucked away. It seems like a freaking vampire. There's a lot of talk of like no outside wound, and then it's like this is either blood or no blood. Like apparently there's some it doesn't you don't feel pain at first, and then like after a while you start feeling some pain, and then there's blood. Whatever it is, these things are not cute. They actually seem kind of mean, and it's kind of funny that after Misao gets called this, she kind of becomes a little feral herself. She doesn't take too kindly being called a weasel. Which I mean, I wouldn't either, but still. But oh come on, Crunchyroll. Okay, thank you. Uh, after everything, after Kitchen like gets the the lowdown of what's going on in the village, um, from Saito, they go to lower down like I think Ichiro's his name, the kid's parents, but then the village decides to get in the way, saying like, "Don't lower them, you're gonna get us in trouble." Kenshin doesn't care, lowers them anyway. I think after that, yeah, he decides to go with Saito to where Shishio is staying in that general direction. Misao stays behind, even though she doesn't like it, to stay with the kid. Later on, we see them making a grave for his parents. I think after that, we can just talk about the Shishio encounter with Kenshin. I think we already did a little bit, though. We come back, we actually find ourselves with Shishio, who apparently is in an onsen naked. We don't really get to see what he looks like without the bandages on. I guess the woman that he's with, that's always with him, is also there. I guess taking care of him to, I guess, make sure he doesn't fall in or whatever.
Token hot lady.
I wasn't gonna go there.
It's a token hot lady. It's like a Japanese trope. If you're powerful, you need to have at least one hot lady like attending to you.
Now you said this, I guess I might as well just say this. I think I remember correctly in the I'm gonna regret saying this. People cover your ears. I think in the manga, if I remember this correctly, that woman, her breasts were all around her. I don't ask why I remember that detail, but I think this is the one detail I remember about her in particular. I don't know if anybody heard me say that because I didn't really say what I said in a straightforward way. I think Spear heard me, but we're just gonna move on. I like she's meant to look hot. Like I can't deny that. I mean, he does make mention that women like a good guy, and he considers himself a good guy apparently. I mean, she seems to like him though. I mean, so he's got that going for himself. And she is a quote-unquote token hot lady. I guess actually speaking of like his wounds and whatnot, like what was your first thought when you first saw him and him being all bandaged up like that? Shishio, I mean.
What did you say? What does he look like when he's not bandaged?
No, what I mean, like what I said is like, what was your thought when you first saw Shishio all bandaged up like that? Like, what was your first thought?
My first thought is he looks like a mummy. That his body looked completely scalded and burned, and that he looked like he was bandaged like a mummy, and it's gotta suck for him. He's the bad guy, and I know I'm not supposed to empathize with him, but I gotta say, oh man, that sucks, dude.
I mean, the government tried to kill him.
Yeah.
When they realized they couldn't control him. It's amazing that they didn't try to burn Kenshin. Like, somehow Kenshin got away.
Kenshin works with the government a little bit, though, too. He's not as flagrantly an enemy of the government as others might be.
There's also still a chance that Kenshin could still like become the enemy of the state. I mean, Kenshin seems like the type of guy that will like fight for whoever's in trouble, and that person happens to be against the government. Then I mean, but yeah, Shishio. Speaking of Shishio and how it sucks for him, apparently Kenshin, like they start talking after like Shishio's bodyguard, I guess is what he is, the younger guy, that Kenshin met much earlier on in season one, and then like Kenshin sees him again for the first time, and he tells Sei to like watch out, he's tricky, and then he's just like, oh come on, stop with that, I'm harmless. I'm like, yeah, I don't trust you. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this for every person in any anime who has closed eyes, and I mean this. I don't like you. I can't figure out, like, when you get introduced, these characters, I don't know where they stand half the time. And I get that's the reason. But still, I don't like it. I mean, and I guess the case too with him is he doesn't have his eyes closed all the time, so I can't exactly blame that on him. But still, I think you had something to say. Maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, I really don't like characters in anime that have their eyes closed. It always hides their true intentions. I get that's the reasoning, but still, it's just like they're the character that I find the hardest to trust. So granted, on his case, he's on the villain side, so I don't have to trust him. But still, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
But back to Shishio and the whole bandages thing. Um, I like how he's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you taking over towns? He's like, I can't. I took over this town for the onsen, and make sure nobody could see me when I'm without my bandages on. And apparently, Kenshin really didn't like that answer, and apparently Shishio said he was joking. I don't know how much of that was 100%. I feel like he would do that just because. Like, I feel like other than the woman, like I don't think MS has ever seen him without his bandages on. But I would buy that he did that so he had that people looking at him as he's in the hot bath, as he's in the bath. I mean, I wouldn't want to get into spring with seeing that guy. I mean, that's not to be mean or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, the guy has got his body is covered in, I would say, third-degree burns, probably even more degree burns than I would imagine.
His body probably looks like an overcooked hot dog,
Oh no,
like red and wrinkly and thick skin and broken in spots.
the crown jewels. He wasn't using them anyway.
Oh my god.
He wasn't gonna do where he's going anyway. Sorry, it's oh dear. Okay, yeah, it must be painful to like move around. Like that's probably why he's always drinking sake because it just dulls the pain. He can't have like. I mean, there's actually like a disorder in real life that like it's kind of like this. It's not like burns, but it's like I've seen only one person. Like there's just like their skin is like constantly falling off and whatnot. So like they're constantly being exposed to everything and they can't move without breaking things. Glass bones is a real thing. It's a serious thing. It's a serious disorder.
Glass bones?
Yeah.
How is that a real thing?
It's like not real glass, but basically it's like there's a disorder out there that makes I think it's kind of like osteoporosis. I think it's kind of called that, but it's just like like the person afflicted with this would not be able to carry on a normal life because like just the weight underneath their own weight, like their bones would break. They probably couldn't do a lot of normal things. Like walking would probably be really dangerous for them. Like I think it's like osteo imperfecta or something like that. It's just like the bones just cannot handle standing upright. Just walking like we all do. Taking that for granted. They can't do that without like the chance of actually hurting themselves. I know there's a name for it. Um, Glass bones and paper skin. It's- Oh yeah, so I was right. Osteogenesis imperfecta, also known as brittle bone disease. And then apparently this other one, epidermal, wait, epidermolysis bullosa, EB. The first one, osteogenesis imperfecta, that's his brittle bones, but the other one, epidermolysis, molysis, butchering this, like it's that's the other one. That's the skin one. A rare condition that causes fragile skin that blisters easily. Symptoms cause tears, sores, blisters that can appear anywhere on the body or even inside the body. Disease is usually inherited from a parent and there's no cure. Doctors can treat symptoms like pain and wounds. Yeah, so they're just constantly breaking and tearing their skin. The body they're living in is just horrible.
That sucks.
Osteogenesis imperfecta, a condition that causes weak bones that break easily. It's caused by defect in the genes that produce the produce type 1 collagen material that helps strengthens bones. Other symptoms include blue scala, short stature, deafness in adulthood. There's no way to prevent the disease. I just bring this because there's like I saw a video of somebody that in those in those not companies, but like charities and whatever, charities and whatnot that they get help to live further because apparently this guy was supposed to die before he reached adulthood, but he survived. He's still like in pain and whatnot, and he's like kind of like wrapped up like a mummy, like this guy is. I think he ran the Olympics one year. I forget. That one in particular is a case I think about sometimes. Like this guy just got burnt all over his body. I mean, that guy was born with a genetic defect, but this could be considered genetic if they wanted to go that way instead of the burns.
The other thing that's interesting is when you have burns like that, from what I've read, the pain doesn't go away. Like you can live with constant pain for the rest of your life from the spots that were burned, like the nerve endings get singed and damaged in a way that they constantly fire off pain responses from then on.
That's why I said I think that's why he's always drinking sake. I think he's always in pain.
Right.
Alcohol is usually for a lot of people dulls the senses. I can't imagine the amount of dulling your senses are doing when your senses are burned.
That's hellish though. And then he has like marijuana leaves on his head.
No, that's his hair. Because I think that's his hair.
He
Oh, that's
still has hair.
depending on how much the hair they saved. I assume that's hair because that's brown, not green.
They're all the same shape, and they're kind of like a dark greenish brown.
That's brown. Actually, let me check something really quick. Where's that scene where he's like, we know he's nude?
Spending a lot of time on that scene.
No, I'm not. Shut up, you.
I just don't know what you're getting out of it. That's all I'm saying.
Trying to find out if that hair is hair or not. That's all I'm trying to find. That sounds even worse.
Yeah,
I'm in a hole that I can't dig myself out of. I blame you for it. Huh, I didn't notice that Western clock is in a shot. I didn't notice that till just now. The one that Senkaka goes through. Huh. I guess that was earlier in the episode then. Does he have hair, I wonder, on his head? Yeah, he appears bald in that silhouette. That's still good as marijuana leaves.
So many marijuana leaves.
That can't be
It makes
marijuana.
sense.
I don't think marijuana leaves are even that like that thin.
Maybe it's a really thin strain.
I think you're stretching. Like I don't. There's no way. At least with Yo Asakura, that was definitely a marijuana leaf. That I couldn't fight. This one I can actually fight.
Look in Discord. They've got pretty thin leaves. For this image especially.
You're missing the one fact that those are brown on his head.
Still think they're dark greenish brown.
That is brown. I know my colors. Sounds a lot worse when I say that out loud, but sticking with it.
Have you found the bath scene yet?
You already did, and there's no outline. Which is strange. How does that look like a marijuana leaf? Now I'm looking at it like she showed from the front image. If you look at the screen, that is definitely not marijuana. Like that's everywhere on his head, like where his hair would be. That's what they're doing in the bandages. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe he was just trying to save whatever he had left of his hair. Maybe they're growing back in, maybe they're growing back in patches. Well, that's brown for sure. What?
That's weird.
This man was burnt nearly to death. He should be alive.
I would think that your hair wouldn't grow back if it was burned off like that, but what do I know?
I don't think he should be alive, because I think when he got burnt, they thought he was dead. So there's a lot of things off about this guy that shouldn't be going on. And his eyes are glowing red, too, in certain angles. That might just be an artistic decision that they're making on their end, but still. And on top of that, he's also standing in front of, like, what seems to be a poster of, like, hell, I think. But, I think I had something to say. I'm just trying to remember what it is. Maybe it wasn't all that important. Oh, this woman's giving him a post-bath drink. It's like, okay. He must be really in a lot of serious pain. That sake must be like really potent, because this is in such a small bottle.
So they just kind of walk in on him without knocking.
Well, actually, they let him in because Shisha was waiting for him. Because they were like, because like the guy in the front, like was meeting them at the front gate.
Yeah.
Like that was the point when he was like, Kenshin recognized him as like that was a guy that killed that that really important official earlier on. The guy who wanted to like make Japan free again. This anime is too aptly timed what's going on in America right now. Less swords, more guns. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, I guess before I don't want to actually skip over this real quick. It's about Misao and the kid from earlier, the guy with the dead brother. Misao is like gonna help him out because she makes mention, and this is something I don't want to skip over. Is she makes mention that, if she were to find out that the Onewabon gang was killed, she'd go out to revenge herself. And it's like, huh. And we still don't, she does not know what happened to them. And I'm guessing she might not never know. I don't know. That I'm actually kind of not remembering at all. I was like, should she ever find out? I guess we'll have to find out later. The story for this show, I really don't like remember too much cause after a certain point because they don't complete it. Anime-wise, anyway. They get to the bath. They go on to talk all about like Shishio's reasons for wanting to do what he's trying to do, which is take over Japan. Saito brings up like, are you trying to get revenge from the people that burnt you? And he's like, nope. Like I don't. I like he apparently he doesn't care.
He goes
Like,
so far as to say he's grateful to them.
well, I mean, he says like it taught him a lesson, which is to never trust anybody. It's basically what he said is like, don't trust anybody, kill or be killed. Which is a really dangerous talk for a guy who is probably knocking on death's door with those burns. If he's like, I'm not sure how close to death he actually is, but I feel like if you're right about like you're constantly in pain, I feel like the body can only take so much pain before it gives out. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Dude's got so many pot leaves on his head.
that's his hair. That's not pot. I know you
And
don't
what?
believe it. That like it's all over his head. There's no way that's pot. Why are you so like he's got weed on his head? That doesn't make any sense.
Storing it there to smoke it later because of his pain.
If he doesn't have to put it on his head, he just put it in an envelope for later.
Where's he going to put an envelope? In his pocket?
Put it in a girl's cleavage.
That's a good point. There's lots of space there.
Why? I hate that I said that, and I hate you went along with it.
You could park a yacht in that cleavage. That's huge. Get her in the water where it floats up a little bit so there's
Oh
a little
no.
cleavage.
No, stop. I can't laugh anymore. I mean, I can, but I shouldn't. Um, and it's brown, by the way. Most of that marijuana you showed me is green. There's no greenness tints in that in that hair. Oh, that's what's on his head.
If you dried it, it would be brown.
Doesn't make any sense. Why it would be on his head?
Like I said, what's he going to do? Put it in his pocket?
I mean, you never know. I mean, he's got pockets in those bandages, whatever. Again, the girl is giving him all the things like the sake, like she's pouring him. So like, it's not like he's doing anything for himself much more nowadays. Uh,
He does a lot of smoking, too. With that pipe that he ends up wrecking out of passion. In the fit of passion when he squeezes it in half.
yeah, he brings the like. I guess the main reason why he's doing this in Japan is he wants to bring about I guess the war or a war of sorts that happened. I think like this might have been this might have been he was burnt in the Bakamatsu period. I think is what he says where he was from. So definitely prior to the Seinen War, which is like what led to everything, everything that's happening at this time period. He wants to bring back and let the powerful take what they want, basically. because he's upset that Japan's like concerned what's going on with the West, which actually makes me wonder. I was like, wonder what's going on in this time period in the West right now, because like they keep bringing up that things are going on over there in the United States, or at least the west part of the world right now, and they don't want them to see that they're weak or whatever. Yet we know all this stuff that's been going on over there, all the wars that were fought, the Sword Abolishment Act. It's amazing the amount of stuff you can learn about what's going on in the East world today that they didn't want people knowing back then.
Why are his eyes red?
I don't know. Like, I mean, natural eye color. I will say they're glowing here, so who knows?
His natural eye color is like death red.
Artistic choice. I mean, if I want to make my point knowing this guy's evil, I mean, I'd do that. What's eviler than red? Oh, there's so many things that could be taken from that statement. I'm not even gonna try to defend or not defend my point. Um, I just want to point that I don't mean anything I just said there. Just don't take anything I said out of context.
I'm trying not to say that's racist.
What about that was racist?
What's more evil than red?
There's nothing. I don't think there's anything racist about that.
Why
Uh,
are you calling American Indians like evil?
I don't think American Indians have red skin. Which, by the way, I have portions of Native American in my blood. It's not even a joke either. That's actually the truth.
What tribe?
That I don't know. I just know that my great grandmother, I think is what she is. The name that's been passed around his family has been Big Mama.
I apparently have a ancestor way, way, way back that was Iroquois. My
Like,
French.
are the Iroquois? They're distinct now, right?
What do you mean distinct?
Extinct. Sorry, not distinct. But they don't exist anymore, right? Like that tribe is gone.
I'd be surprised. Let me double check.
I know there's some that got like. I mean, there was way more tribes on this land before, and a few of them got wiped out. Like, it's not as
No,
many.
Iroquois are still around.
Oh, like where are they mostly?
The Northeast.
Also, right where you are. I guess that makes sense. Huh. That's weird because every time I think about Native Americans, I always think about like the reservations that I thought most of them stay on to protect themselves, but I guess they're not all there. Huh. I would maybe Big Mom was from the Iroquois then I guess.
Maybe.
Maybe I should ask one of these days if I ever remember to ask do they know what Native American tribe she was a part of. I was too busy laughing when I first heard the name. Like I'm not kidding. And it wasn't that I was laughing at her. I was just like the name caught me off guard. It was one of those things like okay, that's interesting. I saw a picture of her back when she was alive. She just moved to apparently she was in Virginia. I think when she passed. I think most of the family that she had was up here in Virginia somewhere. It's like, oh, huh. I mean, I was born overseas because my father was in the military, but yeah. Back to the whole red comment. I don't see Native Americans as red skin. They never have. But like, I guess some people would see that. Hmm. I retract my statement. I retract all statements I've made mention to the color red. All in perpetuity. Uh, I guess like we could talk about the fight between Kenshin and Senkaku, which wasn't really all that much of a fight. It was more just a testament to how skilled Kenshin is. Like Shisho did not want to fight Kenshin here. He wanted to wait to fight him in Kyoto, so he just summoned up his one of his grunts. And he was a big man with I can't try to remember who he reminded me of. I'm still trying to remember that. I think is it what's the name of that X-Men character? Juggernaut.
What about Juggernaut?
That's who Senkaku reminded me of.
How?
Big hulking dude. I mean, I know Juggernaut isn't dumb. I'm just saying, like, for all intents and purposes, like from like the outside presence, big muscled bound dude that seems indestructible. Granted, Juggernaut's more indestructible than most, but like, he kind of reminded me just based on size and size alone.
Do you
Guy
know
was huge. Hmm?
Do you know who he reminded me of?
Pinhead.
No, the Human Bullet from the cartoon The Tick.
Is this the guy you told me about last week that apparently when he goes in one direction he can't stop?
He goes, "Fire me, boy!" And then he just gets fired out in the direction of wherever there's danger.
Let me.
This is the Human Bullet.
Apparently, Japan made something for the human bells of drama.
Yeah, I saw that.
I like my comparison more. It's because it's funnier and apparently get a rise out of you.
The Tick in the Tick cartoon, what happens is they'll see that there's danger or like the need for a hero. The Human Bullet will drag his kid out there, who's like, I don't know, 14, and he gets into this giant cannon and he goes, "Fire me, boy!" And the kid like presses the firing mechanism and it shoots him off like it's a gun or a cannon, and he goes flying. And then like 15 minutes later in the episode, you'll see him like land off in the distance or hit the enemy like in the nose or something like that and bounce off him because it's a giant or something like that. And then he lands and he always goes, "I'm okay." And it's just kind of funny.
I get that. I mean, most of the
He
tick
almost never does anything worthwhile.
isn't most of the tick just a comedy.
Yeah. The Tick is hilarious.
Yeah, I still stand by my. I get. And he just kind of reminded me just based off of size alone, but with that he doesn't. He kind of goes about like much of a huff because Kenshin starts like using his outrageously inhuman speed against him, and the Sakako thinks he's got the edge on Kenshin as he's matching his inhuman speed with his inhuman speed, which I gotta say is impressive for the most part because most of the time I've seen in these fictional shows, if a guy is that big, does not have the ability to move that quick. So it's kind of cool that they decided to allow him to do that. Also, with a caveat that apparently, because of his muscle mass, well, his mass in general being that much heavier than Kenshin, at some point his leg will give out and twist and break, and that was really painful to watch.
Yeah, it
His
was.
his leg looked like it was gone. He just like falls on the ground. And he's like wondering why is it that you didn't like this didn't happen to you, and he's like I'm just lighter than you are. Is basically the way Kenshin described it. Not in so many words, but you know, he's like his he isn't as heavy as he is, so like he can keep going much longer than he can. On top of that, Kenshin wasn't going the max speed he could. He was like gradually going up, you know, in speed as this was going on. And apparently, he wasn't able to tell that, which is kind of cool and funny at the same time. And as Senkaku's laying on the ground defeated, Chishio is like, "If you get defeated without revealing one move, I will kill you." And pretty much causes he uses, I guess, like the Fire Me Boy equivalent of like of the bullet move and goes flying at Kenshin, and Kenshin uses one of his techniques, which is like an uppercut sword technique, and punches him in the chin, and it sends him like on his back, knocked out, and it essentially ends the fight there. No sweat, really, no fuss, no muss, and he just like points his sword, blunt side up, facing Shisho, and it says, "Come at me," and that episode ends there. Again, I was not expecting Kenshin to meet Shisho so soon. I was actually expecting those two to meet in Kyoto, but my theory is Kenshin's gonna try to fight Shisho. He isn't gonna probably be using his full strength, but it's still gonna like make Kenshin look like a joke, considering that like Shisho was the manslayer after him. So he's first of all he's younger than Kenshin, and then two I think he might be faster than him a little bit, just a tiny bit maybe. Who knows how fast? I'm just making assumptions here. Nothing has been shown yet because Shisho has done nothing but sit there looking at the fight. That's what I don't think there was a sword near him either, was there? Shisho. I don't think I saw a weapon near him.
No, he was a brawler.
I don't think that was the case.
No, you're right. Never mind. I take that back.
I mean, he could be a brawler. Maybe the version of Shisho I saw from earlier wasn't the right one. I had no idea. Again, the anime that I'm probably gonna be constantly referring to that I remember very little bit of was back during the day of. So I don't think. No. I take that back. It did fall. It did fall into that. Though it didn't fall into the whole filler thing as badly as some other shows did. Because really, what happened with Rurouni Kenshin back then is they decided to, instead of animate the final arc that was story related, they decided to, I would say, do a lackluster job telling Kenshin's backstory. Back when he was like running around as a manslayer when he was like 18 years old, which is weird. I feel like that was supposed to be canon at some point, but I'm guessing they never got around to it because I think they call it Samurai X. I never watched it. I think I started watching a little bit of it, but then I got really disappointed that it wasn't what I thought it was.
I never, I never started Samurai X. I heard of it though.
Did you watch Rurouni Kenshin back then? I thought you said you didn't.
No, I didn't watch it.
'Cause I think Samurai X is supposed to be Kenshin's backstory. Back when he
Oh, really?
was, yeah, I think that because that was supposed to be about when he was like, running around as a Batosai. Oh, it's a movie? What the heck? Samurai X Reflection. Wait a minute, this might be something different. No, this is adapted from Rurouni Kenshin. Yeah, this is like the one thing I wasn't. Oh, this is an OVA. This is supposed to be after what happens in Kenshin, but none of it was derived from the manga at all. I don't even think this was even in the manga. Spoiler alert. Well, not spoiler, more like back when Kenshin had ended initially, back when the manga ended, I know that they didn't animate the final arc into the anime. But I remember being upset that when I looked into it, I was like, wait, where's the final bit? Where it's like, because they were hinting at something very big at the end of like the Shishio stuff, and it never came. And I think it's because the manga and anime got caught up. Again, like back like early 2000s anime was just things were getting really weird. Things got caught up really fast and just caused a lot of issues. Some shows didn't survive, other shows did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was some stuff about Kenshin's backstory that I think they were gonna get into. And I think my hope, at least for this season, is that as they get to the part 2 of season 2, I'll be looking into it to see if there's going to be another season, depending on whatever happens in the first part of season 2, because they're releasing it in cores, which is really strange, but it's still an overall season 2. It's just they're releasing it in pieces. Um, so my hope is that like we can get beyond Shisha and we can get to to the part of the story I never got the chance to to experience. That's really why I really wanted Rurouni Kenshin to get rebooted, because I wanted like Kenshin to get another shot, and hopefully they would be able to get to the part of the story if they didn't. But I guess if they don't do it this time and this ends off at season 2, I'm just gonna go read it 10 years or 10+ years after the fact. I'm just gonna get over it. I'm just gonna read it. I'm hoping that's not gonna be the case, but we will see. The next episode, I think they say the title of it's like "Off to Kyoto" or something. Let me. To Kyoto once more. I'm guessing that everybody's just gonna meet at Kyoto, except for Sanosuke, because he's off somewhere, lost in the woods, never to be seen from again. That's what with the way Sanosuke's story is like unraveling. He's gonna run into like a random building with an old sage in it. Uh,
So what does it mean? He's just gonna leave this place like without fighting him?
I I feel like this is my theory. And this isn't really based on anything, just my theory. As I said before, I think Kenshin's gonna try and attack him, and Shisho's just gonna own him. Like it's probably not gonna take much for Shisho to like completely make Kenshin lose, or at least show Kenshin that like he may need more than he's currently capable of outputting right now to be able to deal with him. Um, Shisho seems very confident in his ability to take on Kenshin. He doesn't seem all that concerned. I mean, he's in a room with him, meeting with him face to face. That's not the sign of somebody that's worried. It seems like to me like Shisho might be trying to just talk Kenshin into joining him, possibly. Because I mean, he keeps on referring to Kenshin as his senior, his senpai. So he still gives Kenshin the respect. That somebody that a younger person would give to an older person. Somebody who's been somewhere longer than you have been. It doesn't seem like he's all that concerned. Like I said, there might be a fight, but the fight may not last long if there is a fight. So yes and no, possibly. That's like the wishy-washy way to answer your question.
That was pretty wishy-washy.
I mean, I was shocked when they said that the kid, like, Kyoto was like, is he not gonna fight him? But to me, it's like I really, again, this like the whole him meeting him was caught me off guard. So I don't know what's going on.
He seems to be preparing to fight Kenshin. He's watching his moves carefully and learning his fighting style.
So I don't think he's gonna. He makes mention. Shisho makes mention that he'd rather fight him in Kyoto. That's what he says, which is why he summons Senkaku.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I wonder why bring him here. Was it only just to meet him here? And because apparently they've never met each other until now. And he still don't have Sanosuke here, and Saito just seems to be like letting everything that's happening happen. But I don't think Kenshin's gonna leave the room willingly. So I mean, there will be a fight, I believe. It's just not gonna be the fight that we want or deserve. Whatever that means, that latter bit. But I guess with that, we'll come back next week to review the next episode. At least I hope that. I mean, some of these episodes be coming out weekly, so I'll keep on with that hope because there's no way for me to check like with My Hero Academia. So come back then. So see you guys next week for the next episode. See what's gonna happen and like with Shishio and Kenshin.